So I'm going to handle your Linux session. Hope you are able to hear my voice, right, everyone? So as you know that Linux is an operating system, right? So our sessions is about how to handle Linux operating system, how to install Linux operating system, what are the basic commands are there in Linux operating system, and what are the services and servers are there in Linux operating system that you are going to learn in this Linux sessions. But before discussing about the topics which are going to cover in Linux course, so first we'll start the class with what is Linux. Okay, so what is Linux means it is an operating system. Linux is an operating system, same like Windows. See, what is operating system? What is Linux means it is an operating system. What is operating system means? Operating system is an interface between hardware and users. It is an interface between hardware and users in order to interact with hardware components used. So for example, now you have a laptop or desktop. Okay, when you have a laptop or desktop, without installing the operating system, can you access our device? Can you operate anything in our device? No, we cannot access anything. Because we need an interface between hardware device. Directly you cannot work with keyboard, you cannot work with your mouse, you cannot access anything, you cannot access your hard disk, you cannot access your RAM, ROM, processor. So if you want to access your hardware components, we need an operating system. Whatever operating system is that, one operating system is required. So operating system is an interface between hardware and users. We already know about Windows operating system. User friendly. Okay, easy to access Windows. It is user friendly. But why Linux? Why people are switching to Linux operating system? Why all the organizations are switching to Linux operating system? Why all the technologies, now whatever technology, latest technology you see, everything is coming with Linux operating system only. Softwares, everything are coming with Linux operating system. Backend, we are using Linux operating system only. Why? Why Linux operating system? So that we'll see first. Okay, so in today's session, I'm just going to give only overview about Linux operating system. What is Linux? And when I'm explaining anything, if you're not clear, you can ask me there itself. I will reply. I will repeat again the topic. Linux is very easy. Don't think it is difficult. Don't think that Linux works with commands only. It is difficult to remember. No need to remember any command. I will give each and every command. I will explain every command. I will give notes also. So if you maintain a proper notes, very easily we can finish our session. Okay. And when I'm taking any topic, if you're not clear in the topic, there itself you can ask me. I will repeat the topic until you're clear the concept. I will explain the concepts. Okay. So who invented Linux? First we'll see this. So in 1990, a person, student, BTech student Linus Torvald released an operating system called Linux operating system. And that operating system, Linus Torvalds gave it to the organization called OSF, means Open Source Foundation. So he gave this operating system to OSF organization. So in Linux, we have different flavors, different distributors are there. Not only Red Hat, we have different distributors in Linux operating system. These are some distributors. We also have Kali operating system, which we call as Hackers operating system. And these are the versions of operating system. How we have different versions in Windows. Same like that, we have versions in Linux also. So these are the free editions. Starting, they released Linux with free editions. It means operating system is free to everyone. But from the year 2000, they also started releasing commercial editions. What is the difference between this free edition and commercial editions? Means free editions means this is free. Operating system is free. Even in commercial editions also, all these versions are free only. Operating system is free, but they will charge for technical support. Okay, in commercial editions, the difference between free editions and commercial editions are, for commercial editions, they will give technical support and they will charge for that. But comparing to Windows, in Linux, technical support also they will charge less only. Okay, so these are the versions we have in Linux. So next is why Linux. If someone asks you why you are going to Linux sessions, why you join for Linux classes, or what is the advantage of Linux? Why Linux? That we'll see now. What is Linux means? It is an operating system. What is operating system means? Operating system is an interface between hardware and users. In order to interact with hardware components, we need one operating system, any operating system. Okay, any operating system means it may be Windows and Linux. We already aware of Windows operating system. As I told, this is user friendly also Windows. Then why Linux? So that we are going to discuss now. So the first feature of Linux is open source. Open source means source code we get along with the operating system. So operating system is free here. Coming to Windows means when you want to use the genuine operating system, Windows operating system, they'll charge for the operating system. License key, they will charge for the license key. See, when you purchase a new laptop, they'll charge extra 2 to 3,000 for operating system, genuine operating system, right? Similarly, in organizations, when they are using Microsoft operating system, it means Windows operating system, Microsoft people will charge for the operating system, like single user, 3 users, 5 users, 9 users, depends on number of users they will take. Microsoft people will charge for that. Okay, but coming to Linux, how many operating systems you installed in your organization, Linux operating system, no issue. They'll not charge for operating system because this is open source. Source code we get along with the operating system. Okay, and whatever changes you want to do in your operating system, you can do the changes. If you want to create your own commands, or if you want to change the command, or if you want to change the complete view of your operating system, you can do that. If you know C, C++ 100%, you can do whatever changes you want in your operating system. Because here source code is open. And if your PC is connected in a network, it is connected with multiple PCs, and you are doing any changes in your operating system, in Linux operating system, it will not affect to other devices in a network. That is the first feature of Linux. I'm repeating, open source. Source code we get along with the operating system. Okay, and it means operating system is free, and we can modify the operating system as per our requirement. So that is the first reason why Linux means. Second feature of Linux is security. How Linux is secure? The first reason why Linux is secure, because it is command line interface. Linux works with command line interface. So those who know the commands, they can only access your operating system. They can only access your laptop or desktop. If you want to configure anything, compulsory you should know the commands. Then only you can configure anything. If you want to configure, you want to install any services, you want to configure any server, you want to create a file, you want to create a folder. For everything, we use commands in Linux. So it is highly secure. How is highly secure? Because those who know commands, they only can access your computer. That is one of the reasons why Linux is secure, because it works with command line interface. Second reason why Linux is secure. Linux is secure because for every user, for every normal user also, password authentication is compulsory. If you created a user, compulsory you must assign password. If there is no password to the user account, you cannot access that user. In Windows, is it like that? No. In Windows, if you created a normal user and if you don't create password to that user means whenever you are logging into that particular user, it means if you click on that user account, directly it will enter into that account. It will not ask for the password because no password is generated to the particular user. That is in Windows. But coming to Linux, here, once a user is created, password authentication is compulsory. If we don't generate the password to a user, we cannot access the user. So, without knowing the password, others cannot access our user accounts. For every user, password is there. So, that is also one of the reason why Linux is secure. Password authentication is compulsory for every user. And third reason why Linux is secure. Linux is secure because it doesn't support exe files. No next finish, no auto runs. Many PCs are affecting with virus because of exe files only. Because it supports auto run, right? But Linux doesn't support exe files. So this is also one of the reason why Linux is secure. And next reason why Linux is secure. We can encrypt a file by assigning password. In Linux, we can encrypt a file by assigning password. Okay, it means, for example, in Windows, now if you created a notepad, assume you opened a notepad like this. There you added some important content. It may be your personal details, passwords, IP addresses, account details, whatever it is. There is some important data in your notepad. Okay, and you saved this notepad somewhere in your computer. I don't know the location of your notepad, where exactly you saved, but I know that there is an important content in your notepad. And second thing, I have access to your PC. I have access to your computer. Now, is it possible for me to find the location of your notepad and to access the data what is there in notepad? Is it possible or not? I have access to your PC. I can access your computer. Only thing is, I don't know where you saved your notepad. Okay, so now, is it possible for me to find the location of your notepad? We can find the location of the notepad. I may take the time. I may take time 1 day, 2 days. I may take time 1 week because I don't know the notepad where exactly you saved. Okay, so what I'll do at that time? I'll check each and every folder, every file. I'll open everything and I will check. Right. So when I'm checking each and every folder I'm opening and I'm checking means definitely one day I will find. Right. So when I double click on your notepad, it will display the content in clear text. I can access your content. That is in Windows. But coming to Linux, in Linux, if you create a file and if you added some important content in the file, you can encrypt the file by assigning password. I'll show once. And one more point. Now, whatever I'm explaining as features of Linux, everything I will show practically also in further classes. Okay, I'm just telling the points why you are going to learn Linux. What are the features are there in Linux? Okay, only that points I'm telling just to know how I will explain the concept. Just for your understanding purpose, I'm explaining this. In further classes, again, I will explain whatever the points I'm giving now. All the points again I will explain. At the time, I will show practically also. If you required, I'll give notes for every point. Just for your idea, only one example I'll show. Now see, I'm opening one of my file. I have a text file. I opened this file. So the content is in clear text. You are able to see the content, right? So now what I'll do is I will encrypt this file by assigning password. Done. I'm just saving this file. Okay. Now if you see, I have a file F2, but I want to check the content of this file. Cat space, there is a command to check content, cat space F2. In Windows means just double click. Here we run the command. And now if you see, when I run the command cat space file name, it is showing the content, but it is showing the content in encrypted format. So my data is secure. See, for example, cat space F3, I'm opening another file. I'm checking the content. I'm able to see the content, but I am unable to check the content of F2 file because the file is encrypted. So if you created a file, you added some important content into the file, you can encrypt the file by assigning password. Once the file is encrypted with password, if someone is trying to check the content of your file, it displays the content in encrypted format. If someone is trying to open your file, there is a command vim to check the content of the file. I'm sorry, to access the file. Enter. Now, if you observe, it is asking for the password. If you enter password here, the key which you generated, then only we can check the content. So this is also one of the reason why Linux is secure. We can encrypt a file by assigning password. Once the file is encrypted with password, others cannot access your file. If they are trying to check the content of your file, it displays the content in encrypted format. If they try to open the file, it will ask password, encryption key. Okay, how to create the files, how to create the passwords, this is all our further classes. Every point from 0 level to server admin level means in depth, everything I will explain one by one. Okay, if you don't know anything about Linux, also no issues, because everything I'll explain one by one, from creation of files, everything I will show, okay, practically. So coming to the points, features of Linux. Security, the first reason why it is secure, it is command line interface. So those who know commands, they only can access the data. Second point, why Linux is secure, password authentication is compulsory for every user. And third reason why Linux is secure, it doesn't support exe files. Okay, and the next reason, we can encrypt a file by assigning the password. And fifth reason why Linux is secure, we can encrypt configuration files also. It means in Linux, there is no setup files. Linux is secure because in Linux, there is no setup files, no next, finish, no auto run. If you want to install any software, if you want to install any setup file, if you want to install any server, there is no setup file, no next, finish in Linux. If you want to install any servers or softwares, we configure them. Okay, so we open a notepad, there will write. Say for example, if you want to share a folder, in Windows, simply what we do, we create a folder, we add some content into the folder, right click on the folder, sharing in properties, you can find sharing and security option. From there, you can share the folder. But coming to Linux, if you want to share a folder, we'll create the folder, we add content into the folder, then we open a file, there we add the configuration. This is my folder name. It is located here. I want to share this folder with these people or this network. And this permission I want to give to my folder. Everything will write manually. And that we call as configuration. We configure our servers, we configure our softwares manually. Okay, so that configuration also we can encrypt. Once you encrypted your configuration files, others cannot access anything. So that is also one reason why Linux is secure. So these are the few reasons why Linux is secure. Hope you are clear. And next point. Why Linux means no downtime. It means 24/7, no downtime. Many servers are working for many years. Since many years, so many servers are working without downtime. It means without restarting the system, you can use Linux operating system. No need to restart. If you are configuring anything, if you are installing, if you are uninstalling, whatever you are doing, no need to restart the system. But is it possible in Windows? Means no. Say, for example, if you are using a laptop with Windows operating system, sometimes you can see before when you click on shutdown or restart, it will show you updates are here. Do you want to continue with updates? You'll get that because Microsoft people will send the patches, means updates. So once you update, it will restart the system. Similarly, in organizations also, every Thursday or Friday, Microsoft people will send patches to all the organization, those who are using Windows. Microsoft people will send the patches, updates. Then what administrators will do is they will install all the updates, means patches. Once they install the patches, they will restart the server. But before restarting the server, they will give the information to their clients. Like 10 minutes downtime, 15 minutes downtime, they will give that information to clients. And they will restart the server. It means what? They are restarting the server means what? It is downtime to all the clients. Right? So that is called downtime. If you observe, you may know that, see, sometimes whenever you're accessing any transitions, online transition, mobile transitions, your Gmail, your Google Pay or Phone Pay, if you are trying to doing any transitions, it will give you the message warning or error. It will give server is down temporarily. Because when the servers are restarting, they cannot do these transitions. It means what? Downtime only. But coming to Linux, there is no downtime. Without restarting the system, we can update everything in Linux. How means that I will show practically in the further classes. Okay, so this is also one reason why Linux means. Next, performance. Comparing to Windows, Linux is faster comparing to Windows. Okay, performance. So why it is faster comparing to Windows? Because first reason, it works with command line interface. It means what? Black screen with white fonts. It doesn't write graphics. So when Windows is working, if you open a file, if you open a folder, everything is in colors, right? So always your processor uses graphic card. So, but coming to Linux, black screen with white font. If you want to use your operating system in Linux in GUI mode, you can use that. We have an option. Otherwise, we can use command line interface. When you are using command line interface, it is faster because it will not use graphics. That is one reason why Linux is faster comparing to Windows. Another reason, there is a concept called swap. There is a concept called swap in Linux operating system. What is swap means? Swap is a virtual memory. By using our hard disk space, we create a virtual memory. Okay, so virtually we create some space, and that space we add to our RAM, physical memory. So for example, assume there is a RAM in your computer with 2 GB. Now, while installing the Linux operating system, you can create swap memory. Assume you can create a swap memory with 4 GB space, and that space you can add to your physical RAM. So 2 GB or physical RAM is there, and 4 GB space you are adding means then 6 GB. Using 6 GB, your system will work like that. Okay, so you can increase the speed of your RAM also by creating virtual memory. So there is an option called virtual memory while installing the operating system, and that is compulsory. While installing the operating system, you should create virtual memory to increase the speed of RAM in Linux. So it automatically increases the speed of your RAM. When the speed of RAM is increased, it can access more data at a time. When it is accessing more data at a time, it can work fastly also, right? So this is also one reason why Linux is faster comparing to Windows. I already told you whatever points I'm explaining now, everything practically in further classes I will show one by one, not in a single day. So when the topic comes, I will explain the point at the time. Next. Virus free. Till now, I get the 4 points. I explained 4 points. So is everyone are clear in the 4 points? So next is virus free. Virus free means what? Free from virus. Virus free means free from virus. Say for example. And one more request, all of you please interact with me. You want someone to explain you want to interact with someone. That is the reason you all came here. So interaction is important in our classes. So please feel free to ask any questions. So this is not free cost. This is not at all free of cost. Our sessions. So we are charging. So you can ask. You have a right to ask any question you have. Right? If you want to ask someone, you want to discuss with someone, that is the reason you joined here. So utilize it properly. So coming to next point, virus free. Virus free means free from virus. It means it is not free. Virus is not free. Free from virus. Say for example, now take Windows computer, Windows machine. Take one computer first of all. What is computer? It is an electronic device. Whatever brand computer you are using, computer means it is an electronic device, right? So what is the function of your computer, any brand, any operating system you are using? What is the function of your computer? It takes input from input devices, do the process and gives output through output devices. That is the function of your computer. This we all know. From childhood we are learning this. Right. So any operating system is that inside you are using. The function of your computer is it takes input from input devices, do the process and gives output through output devices. So now coming to Windows machine, when something input you're giving to your computer using mouse, keyboard, whatever, when you are giving input, it takes the input. So once you give input, here shell receives the data. What is shell? Shell is an interface between user and hardware. Now, what the shell do is it converts user understanding language into machine understanding language. Whatever data you are giving, A plus B, 2 plus C, 1 plus 1, whatever data you are giving input to your computer, first shell receives that. So what is the job of shell? Shell converts into zeros and ones and it transfers to hardware environment. It will not check what data you are sending to hardware environment. The function, the work, the job of shell is converting into zeros and ones. See, if you connected a pen drive, the pen drive is infected with virus. What the shell will do? It converts into zeros and ones the virus and it transfers to hardware environment. Virus is not required for us, but shell will not check what you are sending. The only function of shell is converting into zeros and ones. Right. And if something you are sending, your computer, your operating system is 32-bit operating system. It means all the 32-bit softwares your operating system supports. Applications, everything, 32-bit applications only your computer supports. But assume that you don't know that information and something you are installing which is a 64-bit application. Then what the shell will do is it converts into zeros and ones and it transfers to hardware environment. It will not check what you are sending. So when you installed or while installing, you will get errors. Like it is not supported or it will restart the system. It will hang the pieces. Okay. When something is happening like this, hang the machines. Then what we think is something virus is infected. But the problem is your system is not supporting that much. Shell is not checking anything. Whatever you are giving the data, just it is converting into zeros and ones and it transferring to hardware environment. Similarly, if virus is coming, exe files are coming, virus is coming, or any auto runs, it downloaded unfortunately and it is installing In Windows machine, it converts into zeros and ones and it transfers to hardware environment. But coming to Linux, in Linux, when something input is given by user, shell receives the data. Now what shell will do? It converts into zeros and ones and then it transfers to kernel. There is a kernel, Linux kernel in Linux operating system, and what this kernel will do? Before transferring the data to hardware environment, kernel will check the data, whether the data is supported by hardware or not. The data is supported by hardware or not. Authentication is there or not. Administrator permission is there or not. Everything it will check. If the data is supported by hardware environment, then only it transfers the data to hardware environment. If something, as I told previously, if something pen drive is connected which is infected with virus, and now shell converted that virus into zeros and ones and it transferred to kernel. The kernel will check virus is not required to our hardware environment. It rejects back. If something applications are coming which are not supported by our hardware environment, it rejects back. So the main advantage, the main advantage in Linux is Linux kernel. Okay, so Linux kernel on the best work it will do. Before transferring the data to hardware environment, it will check the data, then only it transfers to hardware environment. So about this shell and kernel again we'll discuss in further sessions. So Linux is virus free because of this kernel. Before transferring the data to hardware environment, Linux checks whether the data is supported or not. Then only it transfers the data. Okay, and next. In any hardware environment, if you have least hardware environment also, least hardware components you have, 512 MB RAM is a 80 GB hard disk is there also Linux supports. If you have 40 GB hard disk, at present we are not using less capacities devices, but still, if you have least hardware environment also, Linux supports that computer. You can install Linux operating system there. Okay, so flexibility, you can install anywhere Linux operating system. That is also advantage in Linux. And next, in Windows, we have two operating systems. Always I'm telling Windows, I'm taking Windows an example because you all are aware of Windows operating system. So if I take example of Windows means easily you can understand. That is only the reason I'm taking Windows as an example, just for your easy understanding purpose. Okay, so next one is in Linux, in Windows, we have two operating systems: server operating system, client operating system. Server means what? Client means what? Anyone knows? Client means what? Which request for the services. Server means what? Which provides requested services. So in Windows, server operating system is different, client operating system is different. We have server operating systems like NT 2000, 2003, 2008, 2012, 2016. We have server operating systems. And client operating systems are different, like 95, 98, ME, XP, Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11. These are client operating systems, right? So here server operating systems are different, client operating systems are different. Server operating systems you will get along with the services. But in client operating system, no services they will give. So operating systems are two there. Already now you have one computer, there you installed client operating system. In the same operating system, if you want to install any services, you cannot install. You cannot install any servers like DNS, DHCP, FTP. We have many servers. We cannot install there. What to do? Again, uninstall the client operating system, install server operating system and configure there all the services which you want. So that is in Windows. Right. So options are different, settings are different, everything is different from one operating system to another operating system. That is in Windows. But coming to Linux, here we have single operating system for client side and server side also. Operating system is only one. Okay, so what operating system we are using in our desktop machine? The same operating system we use in supercomputers also. Operating system is same from desktop PC to supercomputer. Options are same, commands are same. Starting whatever the commands we learn, the same commands we use till end of the course. So that is also an advantage in Linux. Single operating system we have for client and server. We have same operating system. In my desktop machine, I can use this PC for creating files, for creating folders. In the same PC, I can also configure servers. That is the advantage of Linux machine. So this is one of the reason why Linux means. And next, we have types in operating systems. We have types in operating systems like single user, single task, single user multitask, and multi-user multitask. Single user single task means here only one user can log in and that user can perform only one task. That is called single user single task. Okay, it means example for this is the first operating system we have, that is DOS disk operating system. This is the example for single user single task. Here only one user can log in, that user can perform only one task. If one application is open, they cannot open another application, like that. Next, second type of operating system is single user multitask. Here single user can log in, but that user can perform multiple tasks. They can open multiple applications. They can listen songs, they can watch movie, they can open different files, they can open VMware software, they can open packet tracer software, they can open Maya software, they can open Adobe Reader. All the applications they can run at a time. But only one user can log in at a time. If you log in into another user, it will log out from first user automatically. That is single user multitask. So example for single user multitask is Windows. Now coming to multi-user multitask. Here multiple users can log in and every user can perform multiple tasks. In a single console, you can open multiple users. Without logging out from one user, you can log in into another user and you can perform the task. That is multi-user multitask. Multiple users can log in at a time and that users can perform multiple tasks. Okay, so example is Linux. So this is also one of the reason why Linux means multi-user multitask. Okay, so these are the some of the features we have in Linux. Why Linux means these are the features we have in Linux. Okay, so features of Linux: open source, as I told, free software along with the source code, multitasking, multi-users, portable, can be installed on all hardware architecture, scalability. Operating system can be used in desktop PC to supercomputer. Operating system is same. Reliability, as I told, lot servers have been successfully being running without a single second of downtime. No need to restart the services. Okay. And next, security, inbuilt firewalls are there and SC Linux are there. Okay. Secure Linux. So these are the features of Linux we have in. These are the features of Linux we have. Okay, so and whatever the features we discussed in today's session, every feature practically also I will show in the further sessions. Okay, so coming to the concepts, what we are going to learn in Linux. Hope you are clear in the points which I told now, features of Linux. And these are the concepts we are going to learn in Linux. Introduction, basic concepts of operating system, file system hierarchy, and the history which we discussed now, and introduction and the flavors of Linux operating system, and how to install the operating system. I will show you the practically. You can do practice in your system itself. You can do the practice. And next, we'll start the classes with basic commands, the very basic commands like how to log in, how to create a file, how to create directories, everything. How to remove, how to move from, how to cut and paste everything. Practicals will show. Then VI and VIM editors and advanced Linux commands, some filter commands. These are the shell commands. The basic shell commands will explain here. After installation practical, I will show you how to create a file, how to create a folder, how to remove a file, a folder, how to rename a file and folders, how to cut and paste, how to move from one location to another location. And there are VI and VIM files. The differences between the files I will show. Okay, and basic shell commands, filter commands, how to check the output of a file, that we'll see using filter commands. And link files, soft link and hard link, we have some link files that I will explain. And how to use this VIM file. VIM is a command to create a file. Okay, so about this VIM, I'll explain. And next, how to create user administration after completion successfully, after completing all the basic commands. After you all are clear in the basic commands practically also, then I will go with user administration. How to create a user, how to delete a user, how to create multiple users, and how to modify the users. Okay, and how to create a group, how to add the users into a group, what is the use of creation of group, that we'll discuss. And then creating the partitions. In partitions we have standard partitions, LVMs means logical volumes, and RAID partitions. So one by one I will explain that also, differences and how to create the partitions after entering to the operating system. Okay, and how to zip the file, how to unzip the file, how to transfer the file from one location to another location, backup and restore, how to take the backup from one PC to another PC if required, how to restore the data back, how to compress the file before transferring the file, how to compress it, that we'll see. And next, we'll see the networking introduction I will give, and how to assign the IP address in Linux operating system. I will show that. Okay, and then we'll see packet management, how to install the services, how we install the services, that I will explain. And how to apply the permissions to a file, how to give the advanced permissions using ACLs, I will explain that. Okay, and partitions using version 6 and 7, all differences, and what are the file systems we have, what is the difference from one file to another file, how after entering to the operating system, how to create swap again, means virtual memory, how to create the virtual memory again, that I will show. Okay, and we have many services. Sudo commands are there. It means giving super user administrator permissions to normal user. How to give the admin permissions to normal user, that I will explain. Booting process, OS booting process, I will explain. And I will show the servers. We have different servers we have, like NFS, FTP, Samba, DNS, DHCP, Apache server, mail server. We have different services or servers, we can say. So how to use the servers, how to install the servers using RPM and YAM. What is the difference between RPM and YAM? Which server is used for which purpose? Everything, all the concepts, every concept I will explain one by one. So first we'll complete system administration part, and later network administration part. In system administration part, I will explain system related concepts like installing the operating system, creation of files, folders, user administration, group administrations, then how to apply the permissions to our files and folders, how to give advanced file permissions. Okay, sudo permissions, this all I will explain in system administration part. In network administration part, IP addresses, and how to use yum, how to use RPM, how to install the servers. This all will see in the server administration part. Okay, so those who don't know anything about Linux also, from zero only, I will explain everything in depth, 100%. I will explain all the concept, whatever concepts are there. So as per the schedule, whatever the concepts are there, everything I will explain. Some more topics also will discuss here, which is required. Okay, so this is about the session, and this is the demo session. Okay, so and the further anything you have, you can contact us. And again, I'm telling, if you have any issues, you can contact. Any doubts are there, any concept is not clear, you can ask me. I will explain. Whenever you are doing the practical sessions, if you have any doubts in the practical session also, I will guide you. Until you finish your Linux course, I'm the responsible person, the concepts of everything. Okay, I will give 100% everything. And this is for the session, today's session. And this is, again, I'm telling, this is only overview, only demo session. Okay, so whatever concepts I will explain, I will give notes also. As I told, I'll give notes also for every concept. So anything else to ask? And regarding the timings, everything, Mr. Kalyan will contact you. You can talk to him. So this is for the today's session. Hope you are clear in the concepts. Any doubts, you can contact us. Thanks for the session.